to the Ronin System podcast. So today I think it's going to be a little bit of a quick one. I just wanted to share this sort of, new philosophy or new idea. I mean, it's not really new, but it's something that's new to me, and it's something I read. I surf the web a lot. I'm on social media, Instagram and like Reddit a lot, and it's just something that I have a habit of doing. And I've been meaning to wanting to stop using Instagram just for certain reasons. But there's just something that I've read that stuck with me, and it was essentially revolving around the idea of both discipline and of motivation. And so if you guys know me, if you guys have heard a couple of my episodes, I talk a lot about motivation and how hard it is for me to actually maintain motivation, to be motivated for something, for anything. And I talk a lot about having the discipline. It's like something that wrestling has taught me is to be disciplined, is to be successful, all this kind of shit. And it really struck a chord with me because I had never really thought of it this way, where motivation will always be a trend. It will always be a fleeting moment. That's really what it is. It's just a moment. Whereas discipline is everlasting, and you need to have the discipline to do something, not the motivation. Motivation is what gets you going, but discipline is what gets you there. You know. And it was a very interesting idea. It's a very interesting concept that I really had never thought of, and so I wanted to share with you guys. And on top of that, what I mentioned earlier about habits, having habits, it's a normal function of human life is to have, habitual traits, do things just sort of kind of like going with the motions, like you're on autopilot. We all have different habits. Some people, they have a habit of waking up very early and being functional people. You could also attribute that to discipline. And, we all have this habit of, surfing the web and being on social media. And I wouldn't call that discipline. I would call that more of, unless you are like a social media influencer or anything like that, it's more of like a lack of discipline. And in a way, that's how I see it. In other ways, I know it can be different. I know people, they could say it could be discipline, but for me, in this specific moment, I wanted to let you guys, like, I wanted to say like what's on my mind. And I think that, to have discipline, you have to have a habit of discipline, and there is this idea where it takes roughly a month for someone to develop a habit, 30 days to develop a habit, where you have to do it every single day, and you have to do it meaningfully, or not even meaningfully. You just have to do it and feel complete with it, that it starts to become a habit, Like if someone wants to go on a strict diet, they have to make it a habit. They have to make it, an everyday thing. They have to be disciplined about it. It's not just about that motivation where, I have this moment all the time. I'm sure some of you have had this moment as well, where you look in the mirror and, you look kind of chubby here or there, or you look kind of like, a bit nasty, and it motivates you. It gets you going. And that's what I mentioned earlier. It gets you going. But then, even for me, like 2-3 days later, even like an hour later, it doesn't matter anymore. It's a fleeting moment. And if I can get myself going, I have to be able to also get myself there. And that's what the discipline is. That's what the habit building is. And so it really did strike a chord with me, where it's like, wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. And that's actually a really great sort of life tip, is that if you really want to do something, it's not about being motivated to do it. It's about being disciplined to it. And it's really interesting because, again, if you guys listen to me a lot, or if you know me personally, I talk a lot about how martial arts builds character, it builds discipline. It allows you to develop this habit of training and training properly, and understanding, like humility and persistence and patience, all this other shit. And so, I even see it all the time where people, they always come in, like these beginners, they come in, they see me or they talk to me, and they're always like, oh, I got motivated by this, or I saw that and it inspired me, or whatever. And they show up for maybe 2 or 3 days, or they show up, like they show up very consistently, even over like a course of a couple months or even a year, and then they're just gone. That's how quick or how long even that motivation can occur. They can be motivated for a couple days. They can be motivated for a couple months. They could be motivated for a year or two. And then after that, it just kind of goes away, right? And I I never even realized it, but that had been what I had been challenged with these past couple years that I had finally gotten over. And I'm sure if you guys had followed a couple months ago, I had talked about, I'd finally opened up about it, how I had been essentially feeling burnout from training so much. I didn't enjoy it anymore, and I didn't care for it anymore. I wasn't motivated, you know. I would, be driving to training, and I'd be dreading it, and before, when I'd be driving to go train, I'd be so ready. I'd be very motivated. I'd be having techniques in my mind. I'd be like, oh, I get to see all my friends. I get to do this thing that I love. And then over the course of the years, it just kind of went away. It fleeted. It faded. And I realized that not only was it more of a mental block, it was just a habitual trait of mine. I was just going through the motions. I would just get in the car and just go. And you know, it also stemmed from this sort of lack of discipline, really, in myself, where I felt like I was disciplined. I thought that I was disciplined because I would show up. That's discipline. I would show up. I would train hard. If someone asked me to roll hard, I'd roll hard. If someone asked me to roll light, I'd roll light. That's discipline. But it was physical. It was never mental. It was never emotional. Emotional discipline, mental discipline, that's something that's very important as well. And that's something that's really even more important than physical discipline, than physical habits, is that you have to be with your head in the game. And I had lacked that. I had lost that. And so with this sort of mental blockage that I had been able to essentially get rid of, I wouldn't say get rid of, but at least slow down or counter or however you want to put it, it's helped me realize so much where now I am motivated again. And I'm even caught in the habit of saying motivated. I'm disciplined again. I'm more ready to accept that, yes, there are ups and downs, but this is my life. This is what really does bring me joy, is to be able to train, is to be able to be physical, to be able to interact with people at a different level, to be able to perform in art and the science at the same time. It's incredible that you get to be able to realize these things. And it's not saying that, I'm like some 30, 40, 50-year-old who's all of a sudden realizing a new thing, like old dogs learn new tricks. I'm still young. I'm still definitely capable of learning these new things. I haven't experienced much of the world at all, but it's just so surprising because this is something that I had been talking about for a very long time, something that I felt and believed that I was disciplined, that I was, that I had been incredibly motivated about certain things, and it turns out I wasn't at all. Turns out I wasn't disciplined at all about it. And it really just kind of opened my eyes to a lot of other things, like this podcast. I have a passion for it. I have a passion for talking. I have a passion for sharing ideas, learning new things. And yet, I lack motivation for it. I lack the drive, the what gets me going to get out there, to set all this up, to have these conversations, essentially with myself, sometimes with others, to even reach out to people. I see all these people that I want to reach out to, and I set a course in my mind, like, oh, I'm going to reach out to them tomorrow. I'm going to send them an email. I'm going to reach out to them on social media. I'm going to do all these things to try and see, because you never know if you don't try, right? But I never try. And it's because I don't have the motivation for it. And on top of that, I don't have the discipline for it. I haven't made a habit of it yet. And you guys have seen it. There would be weeks. I try and post every Monday. And I'm recording actually sometimes like right before I post it. But very rarely, because I feel like I put this pressure on myself I really try and make a habit out of it to really push out every Monday just for my own sake, my own sanity, because I've set this goal for myself. And now with this new sort of concept, I get to realize that, you know, it I shouldn't be putting so much emphasis on, try and get it out every Monday, just get it out whenever I can, because that's at least building a habit of it, and that's at least building the discipline of it to find something in life, not just my own, but just in life that I can actually express and talk to you guys about. And again, making a habit of actually reaching out to these people, because there is actually a list of people that I want to reach out to. Some of you guys, I'm sure, have heard of some of them. Some that you haven't heard of, that I want to sort of have them share their philosophy, share their ideas, share their life stories, their experiences. At least, hopefully, if they actually respond, or if I actually reach out to them. It's, again, lack of discipline. But it's just something I wanted to share with you guys really quick, and hopefully something that, I wasn't the only one that didn't realize this about myself or about life, is that, motivation isn't as important as discipline. Discipline is the most important part, and discipline is built from habits. And so that's just something I wanted to share with you guys, and that we learn something new every day. We really do. And I hope you guys learned something new. And if you did learn something new and that you think I would enjoy, feel free to reach out. Have the, I wouldn't say courage, but just have the goodwill just to reach out to me. But either way, guys, thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing day. Get out there, get hungry, and good luck.